Thank you. First of all, I would like to apologize for not being able to be present at your side for reason beyond my control. But I wanted to be present to you, my communication, which is a part of the overall time of this conference. My communication is entitled Cultural Resistance under Ideological Indoctrination through the prism of the Black Child by Kamaralai. The European colonization of Africa had a significant impact on the life and culture of African people. For centuries, they had to endure oppression and exploitation of their lands and resources by European colonizers. However, they were not subjected without resistance. They fought against oppression through different means, including literature, through movements such as negritude, and through a strong production of novelistic work committed to this sense, which are real form of cultural resistance in societies under ideological indoctrination and constitute a powerful lever for deconstruction and awareness of peoples oppressed by foreign forces. This is what we are trying to analyze in the light of the novelistic work, The Black Child, in French, L'Enfant Noir by Kamaralai, which, while telling the story of a young Kenyan under the French colonial regimes, expose a large part of the greatness of Black African societies. To do this, we'll highlight its relevance and how Kamaralai succeeds in using it to combat the conditioning of the men of the colonized by the colonizer. It will therefore be a occasion of examining the context of colonization and the different approaches to deconstructing colonial ideological indoctrination. The contextualization, colonization and the mistreatment of Black people. Colonization was a dark period in story marked by the exploitation and the dehumanization of African people. Colonial powers, primarily European, invaded and occupied vast African territories, imposing their domination through military force and policies of cultural assimilation. This imposition was often justified by the racist ideologies that portrayed Africans as inferior, savage, and incapable of governing their own lands. Of course, it's not true. As a result of white colonizers not only plundered natural resources, but also sought to erase local cultures, traditions, and value system that had prevailed for centuries. In this unequal power dynamic, Africans were reduced to degrading stereotypes which had profound consequences for their identity and dignity. Colonizers often use biased
narratives to justify their action, their domination, presenting African as being to be civilized. This dehumanization, dehumanization led to immeasurable suffering, ranging from slavery to systematic violence to the destruction of traditional social and economic structure. However, this operation also sparked significant cultural resistance. African writer, poet, and thinkers began to reclaim their identity and denounce the abuses suffering by their people. Iconic figures such as Léopold Sédar Senghor, Chunya Achebe, of course, Kamaralai, use their writing to explore term and identity, negritude, and decolonization. They work not only served to critique colonialism, but also contributed to the construction of a collective consciousness among Africans, fostering a sense of belonging and cultural pride. By redefining their own narrative, their writers paved the way of re-evaluation of African values and an affirmation of their place in world story. Denunciation of the colonizers' defect, a collective voice. In the face of this exploitation, several African authors have chosen to highlight the flaws of the colonizers, the violence of the colonizers. For example, Ferdinand in A Boy's Life depict the colonizer as a torturer and manipulator, revealing to the mechanism of domination that underlay the colonial relationship. China Achebe, another writer, another author, in The World is Falling Apart, illustrates the violence of and brutality of the occupation, and the other author, Kane, in the Twilight of ancient times, highlights the dehumanization of African by the colonizers. Their works share a critical vision of colonial ideology, asserting that the colonizer is not superior to be black, but rather a belligerent and sadistic exploiter. Ferdinand Erne, in the novel Invader Boy, depicts the colonizer not only as a torturer, but also a skilled of manipulator throughout the character of Kane, the protagonist. Oyono illustrates how the colonizer use a strategy of deception and control to maintain his power. Use this power. The interactions between the colonizer and the colonized are made by a dynamic of content and
For his part, Nazi Boni, in Le crépuscule des temps anciens, highlights the dehumanization of Africans by colonizers throughout a rich and evocation narrative. Nazi Boni, he depicts the corrosive effects of colonization on the soul of identity of African peoples. Colonizers are presented as agents of destruction, not only of bodies, but also of men and cultures. Nazi Boni highlights the loss of dignity and human value suffered by Africans, while calling for a collective awareness of this dehumanization. This work shares a critical view of colonial ideology, asserting that the colonizer is not superior to the black man, but rather belligerent and sadistic exploiter. In denouncing the flaws of the colonizers, their African authors do not only recount injustice, they also call for re-evaluation of historical narratives and recognition of the richness and complexity of African culture. Their collective voice constitutes a powerful act of resistance, affirming the dignity and worth of colonized people in the face of oppression.
Kamaralai in the black child leads in the ability to transcend the denunciation, to celebrate the richness of African culture, lie immerses us in the organization of African society, highlighting the different socio-professional categories, the know-how of black smiths, and the essential role of griot in the transmission of traditional story, short stories and traditional games. He illustrates the joys of living in Africans, their sense of community, of solidarity, and their resilience in the face of adversity. Lie does not simply denounce ideological indoctrination. He offers a positive and rewarding vision of Africa identity through affirming the dignity and the greatness of these people. Kamaralai reveals a certain organization of society that goes from the king to the slave. The king is the central figure of power and authority. He embodies the continuity of traditional and the link with the ancestor. Another very important figure of the African traditional is the griot. Griots are the narrator and guardians of story. In the Black Child by Kamaralai, he played a fundamental role in African traditional as the spokesperson for collective memory. The griot is the guardian of story, legend, and oral traditional. It transmits only historical narrative, but also moral values and life lessons, choose playing an education role in the community. Another figure of traditional African that we can see in the black child by Kamarlai is the warriors. Warriors are the defenders of the community. Their role is essential in time of conflict, but they are also respected in time of peace. They participate in the ceremonies and often honored for their acts and bravery. Their training and discipline are valued, and they play a key role in protecting the tradition and values of society. As craftsmen such as blacksmiths, potters, and weavers occupy an essential place in the economy and culture. Their technical know-how is respected, and they contribute to the production of everyday objects, ranging from tools to clothing. Artisans are often linked to specific traditions and play a role in the community by training new apprentices, and sharing the continuity of skills and knowledge. In Kamaralai, the blacksmith occupies a central place in African tradition. He is seen as an essential craftsman, holder of ancestral knowledge and technical expertise that transcends simple material aspects. The blacksmith symbolizes the strength and creativity, playing a role of mediator between the spiritual world and the world of the living. Another very important point of the traditional African is the traditional game. In Kamarlai's black child, traditional African game play a fundamental role in revealing the cultural richness, educational character, and joy of living within the community. These games are not more entertainment. They are a vector of identity and heritage, contributing to the formation of a living and dynamic culture. In conclusion, Kamaralai in the black child, in French, l'enfant noir, is part of a literary tradition of cultural resistance to ideological indoctrination. Throughout his work, Lai manages to denounce the injustice of colonization while celebrating the richness and beauty of African culture. The duality makes his story a powerful testimony to the resistance of Africa peoples, affirming their identity and dignity in the face of oppression. By giving voice to an often despised culture, Lai invites us to recognize the the inestimable value of African heritage that continues to resonate strongly in the contemporary world. Thank you very, very, very much. All this will be detailed in the depth in the articles that I will send you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for all to you.